Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So something a little bit different this week, a little bit more of a sit down and talk. I hope you enjoyed that intro. I do my best with them. But obviously, when all you're doing is having breakfast and making a coffee, there's only so exciting you can make it. But today, we're doing something a little bit different, as I said. So this week, for content for YouTube, I was really torn between doing something a bit more deep and insightful, let's say, and just doing like a vlog in an away day in a gym that I don't usually train in, sort of speaking to my thoughts of being 10 weeks out, of course, and my experience within the natural bodybuilding world, and I guess how it's developed me, how I feel about it now versus when I first really started putting my feet in the water. But instead, I put it out to you guys. I put a poll out on Instagram and said what would be the kind of content that you'd like to see. And it was between that, so the gym away day vlog, and what we're actually going to do today, which is the dark side of being shredded. So it's a talking point that I think gets missed a lot within the natural bodybuilding world, and I'm just going to expand that to the fitness industry in general, right? We're all massively exposed to ridiculously in shape people 24 hours a day, especially with the uprise of social media, and even more notably now things like Photoshop and AI. Like, I'm at the point where I don't really know what's real and what isn't. For example, I saw this thing the other day, a TikTok, and it was a newscast lady who was giving a report, and she says, "This is Susan so-and-so live from Bakersfield." And then there was like a whale falling out the sky in the background, and she just switched and went, "No, I'm not real." And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. The revolution is happening. I can see why my parents and grandparents don't like the internet. But anyway, it's a good talking point to go into. And I guess I want to just start off by saying I'm going to run through a list that I have on my phone that I've been keeping for a little while now, just through my prep experience. And there's a few things, I guess, a few talking points on here that I think some people will find very relatable if you've been through a period in life when you've been, lean to the point where you really are lean. I'll probably put a picture of me up on the screen now to kind of reference where we're at in terms of body composition. And then there might be some points that you think, what is he on about? And it might be completely unique to me, but the only way we find that out is by talking about it. And I think that's probably one of the big points of this whole video, is that people don't talk about these things. They preach about the positives of being shredded, and no one really tells you the dark side. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully there's some insight there for you. Hopefully it makes you feel a little bit better about your own circumstances and maybe what you're pursuing and why you're pursuing it. So we'll kick things off. Something I wrote down quite a while ago is, if you're suppressing, then you're not truly experiencing. And looking back on this, at first I was like, what was my brain thinking at that moment? And it really does relate to prep, this one, in the sense that during a bodybuilding prep, you are limiting yourself in many, many areas in life. You're limiting yourself from indulgences. You're limiting yourself from experiences. You're just basically putting a cap on everything else that you can pour your energy into the pursuit of physical perfection, okay? And I think a lot of people in this space have an attitude which is almost, if they numb themselves, that will be better for them in pursuing that goal. And I completely disagree. I think you should be hyper aware of what you're experiencing. So if you're feeling tired, I think you should really acknowledge that and accept it, and accept that that's part of the challenge, and use it to then move forward. It's a sign, it's a trigger that things are going right. So that's just something that's, I guess, separate to prep. But if you're suppressing, then you're not truly experiencing. Don't numb yourself. Be open, be honest to what you're feeling. The second thing I've got wrote down is, being hungry isn't exactly fun. And it's such a simple statement, but it's such a true statement. I have never in my life been hungry and thought, wow, I love this. Oh, this is such a nice, warm, tingly feeling inside. Being hungry is not fun. And to get shredded, you will have to be hungry. There is no ifs, buts, and maybes about it. You will have to be hungry. There will be times when you go to sleep hungry. There will be times in the day when you're hungry. You'll be distracted by it. It has to happen. That hunger has to be present in order for you to reach that level of body composition, which isn't ideal. Sleep is absolutely shit. Mine's got a lot better, and it's quite simply because I've managed my sleep routine. I'll put a picture on the screen now of what I look like when I go to sleep because it is psychotic. I have an eye mask on. I put headphones on that play white noise. I have a rigorous sleep routine, and it's effective. It's working for me, and I think that's pretty much the tone of a lot of any prep advice that I would give to people. And obviously this is coming from a first timer, so this is stuff that I found out for the first time, but it's find stuff that works for you. So, you know, I used to take ashwagandha and magnesium biglycinate, and I've stopped doing that because it wasn't really helping me, to be honest. And whether that was placebo or whatever, the situation was it wasn't helping me. Whereas since I've switched to what I'm doing, I'm getting to sleep a lot better. But there will be times, and it's usually related to the hunger, where your sleep is going to be affected. You're going to be up in the middle of the night needing to piss because you're drinking so much water, and your sleep is going to be disrupted. Okay? And that's then going to lead to energy dips and all the other things that come with this kind of look. So when you're in a calorie deficit, you're obviously in a lack of fuel, right? You've not got the same amount of energy. So energy dips are to be expected as well in tandem with that sleep. I hope you guys can't hear that plane. I don't know what it is. There's nothing in the sky. Right, the next one, and this is a bit of an intimate one, and I don't want to go into too much detail because obviously, you know, this is my relationship, but your relationship is not going to be as exciting or passionate or thrilling as it would be when you're at baseline hormonal levels and energy levels and everything else. So I actually spoke to Izzy about this yesterday because I wanted to make sure she was okay with me divulging certain facts. Me and Izzy have been together 4.5 years, and something that I'm so grateful for throughout this whole process of prep is her support, and it's unconditional. That is so unbelievably valuable. If you have a partner and you're looking to achieve something similar to what I'm looking to achieve, please just make sure you communicate with them as early as possible about what you're going into and about how selfish it is going to be. You have to communicate that, and they have to be on board with that goal. They don't necessarily have to understand it as a goal, but they have to understand your motivations why. And I think that's what me and Izzy have got. She knows that I'm the kind of person who, like, I need deeper purpose, and that usually comes from some sort of physical pursuit. Okay, so a couple of years ago it was the marathon. Right now, for the last couple of years, it's been bodybuilding, and who knows what it might be in the future. We don't know that yet, but there will always be something in my life that gives me meaning, gives me purpose. And we spoke about this last night, and I think if you were in a relationship, like if we were in the first year of our relationship and I decided to do this, I don't think we'd be together, because the toll that it takes and the sacrifice that is needed from both yourself and your partner, because they're not prepping themselves, but they're prepping with you. They're not going on dinner dates. You're not going to Tesco on a Friday night and just seeing what snacks you want to get for your movie. You're not going to get fish and chips from the chip shop. You're not going to the pub for a quick drink on a Friday. Like, it just does not happen. So they have to be on board with what you're doing, and you also just have to get creative with how you express romance. So for us, I would say that's been a lot more like through communication than anything else. How we're speaking to each other, how we're informing each other of how we're feeling, what we're talking about, planning for the future, things like that. Just reassuring that person that you are still there for them, and off the back of this, there's going to be a lot more investment. I always do like use the analogy of filling up glass cups, and it's like you've only got so much water, right? And if you've got 10 glasses and you want to fill them all up to the max, but you've only got enough water for 5, you need to pick the glasses that you're going to pour that water into, and you might have to take some from this glass at one point to put it into another glass. Like, this might be the relationship glass, and it will have to go into the prep glass just to get you to where you need to be. But yeah, my advice on that front is, like, anyone who's in an early doors relationship or even a long standing relationship, you just need to be super communicative. You need to understand that that person hasn't asked to go through a prep. You're putting them through that, which is selfish in a lot of ways. And you owe them on the back end, quite simply. Alongside that talking point, we'll talk about it because I think it's important. Libido, absolutely in the bin. I'm not going to go into too much detail because people don't need to hear about that. But it's something that does get missed because, it's a sensitive topic. People don't want to talk about their romantic lives in that way. Let's just say ours isn't active at the minute. It's not, because there's just no real drive there from my end. So, yeah, looking forward to being out of prep to get that back for obvious reasons. We'll move swiftly on. Training is not as fun in the slightest. So for my entire life in the gym, I've always spent training in a progressive state. And there's been times of regression where I've been pursuing something else. The marathon is a good example. I lost a lot of strength. But at its core, the reason why I've had such a passionate love, let's say, for the gym is because it allowed me to pursue something that was in front of me. I think there's nothing greater, there's no greater test in my eyes than, that's a heavy weight, can you pick it up? Because it's just definite. There's no if, buts or maybes. There's no outside factors that impact whether you can or cannot do that. One day you can't, so you work and you work and you work, and then one day you can. And that is probably my favourite thing about the gym, is the actualisation of, I guess, proving to yourself that you're capable, okay? That's what it's always done for me, is every single day, whether my day's been brilliant outside of everything else or terrible, I know that I've got that waiting for me and that chance to prove to myself that, okay, I'm capable of something great. And when you're in a deficit, when you're getting to the competition that I'm at, training, the narrative completely switches. So it goes from being a progressive state to, how do we protect what we've got at all costs? And sometimes you don't win, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. I'd say that the wins aren't as impactful as they used to be. When I was progressing my RDLs and my leg presses and my squat movements week on week, 5 kilos, a rep here, a rep there, 10 kilos. Okay, now fast forward a couple of months, we're 20 kilos up on something and you're like, this is absolutely phenomenal, I'm a machine. Whereas now it's like, okay, we lost half a rep there, or, oh, okay, our win was that we matched last week. Like, it's not as exciting. So that comes with the territory. If you're looking to get this lean, you're not going to be able to perform the way that you have been used to performing. No fat on your arse means sitting down hurts. And this is something I was not expecting. I'd heard people talk about it. I actually heard Tom Stockton talk about it on the Board Shorts and Banter podcast. And I didn't really believe him because I've been lean before. Like, I've been pretty shredded. When I ran the marathon, I was like 73 kilos, pretty shredded. And I don't remember that being an issue, right? But this time around, man, my buns, they're non-existent. I used to have a big old bunda, and now, like, I've got no arse. And if I sit on something, this is fine. This chair's actually really comfy. Sit on the sofa, fine. Sit on this, fine. If I'm sat on like a hard surface, it is horrible. Like, sitting on the toilet, your muscles in your arse, like, that's the only buffer. So you're basically just sitting on your bones, and it is not comfortable. Okay, and further to that, as you get deeper and deeper into prep, and I'm starting to feel like I am getting there. I'm not like diabolically shredded yet. I've still got 10 weeks to go, which is fucking daunting. But on certain days, like if it's towards the end of the day and I need to get steps in for or whatever, I'll go around my town and like my joints just feel not weak. Weak isn't the right word. They just feel unsupported. They feel like they've not got the usual levels of fat, because you've got to remember fat stores everywhere, right? It's not just on top of the muscles and things. You get little bits of fat that go in between your joints, and they almost provide like a spongy relief for when you're walking around. They brace you basically, and I don't have that anymore. So sometimes I actually feel a little bit like a puppet on a string, like my legs are almost just dangling. And I said this to Izzy the other day when we were walking around the town. It's quite often now that I actually feel heavier at, 73 point something kilos than I did at 96. Because at 96, I was basically just like the Michelin man. I could just kind of like move around and momentum would take me. Whereas now, if I'm tired, it's like every step feels like you're picking your leg up and moving it. So that, for obvious reasons, is also not fun. The next one, and this is one that really does frustrate me. Clothes do not fit. Everything that I bought in my off season is now like triple oversized fit. And I like oversized clothes anyway, but it's ridiculous. Like when I go to work, I feel like I look a bit like a year 7 on the first day of school, and my uniform is just way too big. And you don't want to waste money on new ones, because you know that straight off the back of this prep, you're then going to not balloon, but you're going to get bigger again. I'm not going to stay at this condition for an extended period of time. It's not maintainable. It's not healthy. So I will do my prep, I'll do my shows, I'll reverse out in an effective way, and I'll get up to a size that I'm kind of happy with, and then progress into an off season. So I need to keep those clothes because they're going to fit again, which is just so frustrating. Likewise with buying summer clothes. Like I've bought minimal summer clothes this year because I'm going to be bigger and they're not going to fit me in the future. So I just want to get what I need, wear it for the rest of this summer, and then move on. Which one should we do here? Let's save that one. That one's quite a bit of a talking one. Restrictions. So I guess let's go with, it's socially restrictive. So you don't realise how much of a factor food plays in like just social life with everyone, like with work colleagues, with friends, with family, until you're in a situation where you actually can't say yes to certain things. And this is for you to control. Like it's something, and I know it's a topic that frustrates a lot of people that live this lifestyle, is that people just don't understand what you're trying to do. So like, if I was to go out for a meal with my family, there's certain family members that I know would be like, this is ridiculous. And it's like, okay, well, that's not appreciated. I'm working towards something competitive that drives me, and you're telling me it's ridiculous. It shouldn't make that much of a difference to people if you turn up and can't eat what everyone else is eating, or you've made arrangements with where you're eating to maybe have them prep you something slightly different. I know that there's people who've like been to restaurants and said to them, look, I know this is on the menu, but can I just have like a roast chicken breast and some veg, and that will do me, blah blah blah. And I love that in a way, because it's like, okay, you're still trying. And I think it's a really tough barrier to navigate, because the people that you're trying for, friends and family, don't understand how restricted you have to be. So they don't appreciate the effort that you maybe have gone to go to that event and be there and be present, especially when you're low energy, especially when you're digging for fat loss. Like, you don't want to be social. And they don't then appreciate it. And then they ask a load of questions about why you're doing this and why you're eating this way and da-da-da-da, and that's ridiculous too. So it can be very, it kind of, all those factors push you into a mindset of, well, I just don't want to do these things. I don't want to be social and talk to people. You need to avoid that, in my opinion, because that's what I did in my pre-prep diet last year. And I found myself warping. Like, I didn't like the person that I was actually turning into. For those who know me, they know that, I mean, you can tell by this video, but I can talk. I like talking. I like being social with people. And I think through bodybuilding, it's a tough thing to navigate. And another thing that I'm very much so looking forward to on the back end of this prep, like, as much as I love the challenge of it and I love the pursuit of like self-improvement, I really want that back. I want to be able to just go to the pub and have a beer and sit with people and chat about things that are normal. I do miss that. So yeah, really socially restrictive, which you can play around, and I'm still trying to show up for things. But even when, I mean, there's been a couple of examples this year where, you know, I've gone to a birthday party or I've gone to an event of some sort, and my battery levels just die so quick. My social battery is like, it starts on 10%. So then we usually get somewhere, I'm like, boom, out the gates, happy Liam, talk. How are you? How are you? How is everyone? Yep, I'm good. This is great. Da 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 da. And then it's just like death. And I end up looking at Izzy and going, yep. I just go non-verbal for the next like 2 hours, and start thinking about, you know, when's my next meal. So tough one to navigate, and I've definitely got, you know, I've set myself up for some tricky times because I've got 2 weddings that are still coming up in prep, but I'm confident. I feel like I've reached a good point with it, to be honest, where I'm a bit more skilled in my approach. A simple one, being called skinny, like, not ideal. I think any lad, and even the ladies out there that are watching this that are also doing this lifestyle, like, you build muscle too, so we all want to, let's be honest, we want people to go, wow, you look amazing, you look so muscular and fantastic. The reality is, especially if you're a natural athlete, you're not going to be the biggest guy or girl in the room. You're not going to have that, like, in clothes right now, I look so skinny. I look, tiny. And it's because I am quite small right now. And my face is very slim. And you've got to remember, people see you from your off season to prep. And I'll probably put a side by side up on this because it is hilarious, of my face in my off season to my face in my prep. It's 2 different people. This guy ate that guy, and that guy, I don't know, he just is slowly melting away. But being called skinny when you're in a sport that is all dedicated towards being muscular and being symmetrical and like presenting an amazing physique is pretty devastating. Might be in a bit of an extreme word, but it's definitely demoralizing, because it's like, people tell you look skinny and you're just like, please don't say that. I know a lot of people will get that one. Same within your off season, people say, oh yeah, you look fat or you look massive, and there's no in between. When people call me skinny now, I'm almost like reaching for my phone to show them my latest check-in shots, because I'm like, I'm not skinny, but I am. Last couple then, because I don't know what time we're on here. Is that 29 minutes? No, 23. Okay, God, you can talk. Last couple. Low energy. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I just really want to relate this back to something that I love to do. So, I'm a big video game guy. I like playing video games with my friends, and we used to have this thing every Friday night. We're trying to reinstate it at the minute, but every Friday night was Friday night games night. And when my best mate Will still lived in the UK, love that boy, we used to meet at our local co-op, and we'd get 3 tins of like Captain Morgan's rum and coke each. We'd get like a couple of snacks, and we'd also just for some reason get a Kinder Egg, and we'd both buy these things. We'd swap the Kinder Eggs, and whatever the little thing was in there, we'd then assemble it, whether it's like a little transformer or whatever, put it on our desk next to our gaming setups. That was just our thing for like pretty much most of COVID, and then off the back of COVID. And right now, like, I don't even have the energy to play video games, which is insane to me, because it's one of my escapisms. It's something that I do to just really detox and like release any other responsibilities of the week. Put the headset on, put the screen on, play something. And yeah, it's got to the point where like I'm just so tired that I'll log on with the boys, and I'll last maybe an hour or so, and then I'm just quiet and I can't talk to them. I can't engage with the game. And if we're playing something, you know, competitive, it's hard because I can't focus. I can't see things, my speed, my reaction times. So just something that's personal to me. But even things with like YouTube, I love YouTube. I've always said this, I keep saying it, but I'm a massive YouTube kid and I struggle to even watch like full videos that would usually have me very engaged because I'm just distracted, I suppose. Last one. So this is the last one, and it's a little bit of a deeper one. And it's quite simply that the lifestyle of getting shredded and being in a prep can be incredibly lonely. And I've seen people make the argument for the fact that bodybuilding has a great circle. And I think it can do. I think that there are certain people within the sport that are incredibly supportive, are in it for the right reasons, and will support you all the way with your journey. And especially if you find yourself in a home gym environment like I've got over at Corpus, where everybody understands what you're doing, they understand your reasons for one way or another because they've probably got some sort of similarity with their own life experience. I mean, I'll use Luke as an example, the owner of Corpus, amazing guy, has like a rich competitive history. He's done it all. He can look at you and know why you're doing it. You can say something to him and he's probably been there. That's an incredible person to have in your corner. Same with like how I've got Zach, Ben, like Marcus, who's obviously competing, but so many people at Corpus, and I'm sorry if I've missed people, but Mercer, Dan, like so many people in Corpus who are competing or competitive athletes who just understand. And that is a hub, it's a bubble where you can go, do your shit, and no one questions it because everybody understands it, right? But outside of that, outside of the couple of hours or whatever it is a day that you're in the gym, it can be really, really lonely. And people just do not understand it. And I don't blame them. I've literally wrote in my notes here, like, not many understand what you're working towards, not their fault, in brackets. And this extends to friends, it extends to parents, it extends to colleagues, everybody in your life who isn't a bodybuilder. And I'm not saying that to make it sound like it's some elite club, but it's almost similar in, like, people don't understand ultra runners. I feel like running has had a real push recently to the point where people see it and they understand it because everybody knows what running feels like. Not everybody knows what bodybuilding feels like, because I'd say the main difference between those two disciplines is that bodybuilding is 24/7. You are eating, training, sleeping and recovering like a bodybuilder 24/7 to maximize your ability. I need to be quick because this is going to die. So yeah, no one really understands it, and those who do can sometimes be so locked into their own processes that they've not got the time to spare for you, which means it can be a pretty lonely world. Anyway, we're going to close this off because that's a long time of talking. I think the camera's going to die. But thank you for coming to my little TED Talk. I hope this one was engaging, a little bit of a different style. Let me know if you guys liked it. As always, follow along for more, so subscribe, leave a like if you can, comment in the comment section down below, it really helps. Any other ideas that you want me to pursue on YouTube, please just let me know. Follow me on Instagram as well, I'll probably put that in my bio. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.